right. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Let's get right to it. Started the stream a few minutes early again, just so we can get everyone to kind of tune in here. Let me go ahead and put these tweets out. All right, perfect. Let's get everybody in here. Let's get the morning started. All right. Atik, good morning. Jocelyn, good morning. Bullets Garage, what's going on, my man? Good morning, good morning. Nancy, how you doing? Good morning. Edgar, good morning. Shahriar, Shahriar. Good morning. Tommy, what's going on, my man? Good morning, good morning, good morning. All right, all right, all right. Let's get everyone to tune in here. And then we can get going. Mr. Needham, good morning. Nice, nice. All right. Getting people to slowly tune in here. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good to see. Billionaire Mindset, Humble Living, Grand Rising. What's going on, man? Joffrey Vons, good morning. Alika, good morning. Mr. Alvarez, what's up, my man? Good morning. Luca, what's going on, boss? Good morning. Relaxing Calm Sounds is back, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Val, what's going on, man? Good morning, good morning. Shah Alam, good morning. Judah, bless up. Bullets Garage, go and smash that like button, people. YouTube loves it. Yes, if you guys are here, good morning. You guys are the early birds. Let's go ahead and smash that like button. Peter, what's going on, man? Good morning, good morning. All right, all right, all right. Every time I say all right, all right, all right, it reminds me of Matthew McConaughey. Good old Matthew McConaughey. Steve B, good morning. Oscar, hope you're wearing your sweater, man. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Mr. I had to translate your name there. Mr. Muhammad, good morning. Mary, good morning. Luca, looks like it's cold in Canada. Man, it's been cold here for the past 4 months. Jeez. Gabriella Bello, good morning. Diana, what's going on? Good morning. Tricia, good morning. Legit Movers Chicago, what's going on? Good morning, good morning. All right, guys, so usually I wait about 5 minutes into 8:30 until we get everybody to kind of tune in here. Once everybody is here, we'll get it started with some market sentiments. Then we'll go over some of the free alerts. And then at the end, I'll take your questions regarding some of the tickers that you guys want me to go over. But as always, make sure the tickers that you're telling me what you want to do with it. Day trade, swing trade, calls or puts. Then we can get to it. All right, let me take a look at the job numbers here. Let's see what happened with those. I always have a hard time finding the job numbers on my thing. Did the investing app change or what's going on here? How come I can't get the news? Anyways, I'll figure this out later. But gotta find the jobs report number and then we can take it from there. All right, all right, all right. 8:31. Reggie, good morning. Yusuf, good morning. Samsung, start. Chest pump Chest thump, chest thump, chest thump. Boom. Boom. Good morning, Twino. Let's get started. Trader for life. Yo, yo. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Peter for Q&A. One thing I am struggling to understand with alerts, everyone's alerts, is if it's supposed to be a day or swing. How do you identify between the two? Most of the times, they're always day trades. Now, if you want to turn it into a swing trade, you'd have to look at a few things, and you'd have to cross a few things off your checklist. Usually, I don't turn a day trade into a swing trade or an overnight. However, if you have runners and you're leaving them to run, a few things to look at is, did the stock close strong if you're in calls, or did the stock close weak if you're in puts? And by that I mean it closed at the top, 10th percentile, near the high of day or near the low of day, then you can hold it for an overnight. But I wouldn't swing it if there's no setup for a swing, maybe just an overnight hold. As you watch the markets, do you keep an eye on SPY, QQs? Yes, I keep an eye on the SPY and the Qs. I would love to keep an eye on the ES and the NQ. Unfortunately, in Canada, we're not allowed to trade futures, or my bank doesn't allow me to trade futures. So therefore, every future chart that I show up on my Think or Swim is delayed by 15 minutes. So I don't have a choice but to only watch SPY and the Qs. All right, guys, 2 more minutes here. We'll wait for everybody to kind of come in here. Lauren, Peter, we are not swinging in this market. Yes, exactly. What tickers do you think will have the move attention, and why? There's a few. I mean, if you're looking after, there's a lot of earnings that came out. You can go after those for volatility, but there's quite a bit. You'd have to do your research literally the night before if you're looking for some stocks. Level Jit Singh, good morning. Mikhail, good afternoon. Grabbing my second espresso. I only had one this morning, so what is the key to day trade during this volatile market? IV is going to be high, so you're going to want to keep size smaller than usual if you're trading in this market. And if you're trading shares, goes the same thing. Understand that, when there's going to be key events that are taking place, the market's going to be sensitive to those. So keep your position sizing relevant to what's really going on. And with volatility, it's better to sit on cash and day trade rather than put on swings and try to swing with markets gapping up and down as drastically as we have seen it. For example, today. Last night we were down over 500 points. Now we're back to break even on the markets. So something to consider. All right, guys, it's 8:35. Let's get right to it. Don't want to waste too much of your time. But for those of you that are here, thank you so much for tuning in every Thursday. You guys do show up, show your love. But if you're here, go ahead and smash that like button. YouTube loves it when you guys do that, and I would greatly appreciate it. And as always, let's start with the market and what we're really looking at here. All right, so we've talked about the market bouncing off the 50, and there's a 100 moving average here that tends to get respected, and it always did in the last few months. Same with the 50 moving average, and the 50 moving average was quite vital in the last few months of trading here. Whereas if we closed above it, we pushed higher. We closed above it, we pushed higher. And if we closed above it, we pushed higher. Now, what happened here? We can see the candles really drastically getting bigger and bigger and bigger, telling us that volatility is coming up. Now, when the candles get bigger here, I can almost promise you that the VIX is also going to spike up. The VIX is a volatility index. It measures how much, how volatile the market is, and we can see with the big range of the candles that the VIX will also spike up. Now, what happened here? We broke this 200 moving average on an increased volume here, right? So we have an increased volume bar. We broke a vital support area, that 200 moving average, and we yanked down and we closed literally at the low of the day, right? Now, what did this do? This created a massive selling pressure where we actually gapped, whoa, that's massive, where we actually gapped down from this close and we opened right here. Okay, now with that said, a lot of people started panic selling and we sold all the way off down to this 420, but that's when the buyers stepped up. All right, so where are we today? We came back up after hitting these lows and we retested this 200 moving average. When we retested this 200 moving average yesterday, coincidentally happened to be when the FOMC minutes came out, and again, we sold off after the FOMC minutes. Okay, so what do we need to look at today? quite a few things you need to pay attention to. Oftentimes when we get that break with increased volume, retest, and show rejection again, it shows that, you know, we have an opportunity to continue moving downwards, okay? But that's just what's happened in the past. Doesn't mean that it happens again. So we have to really have levels, and I've talked about this oftentimes, is don't put a bias in your head. Simply trade what levels we have, and the levels that we're focusing on today are right here. Let me pull it up for you guys. I'll put my levels on. Perfect. So these are the levels that we're kind of paying attention to, and I'll tell you guys which ones to kind of look at going into today. Okay, so this 433 level is going to be vital. All right, you can see that obviously yesterday we sold off excessively after the FOMC minutes. In the futures, we sold off. We came down about 500 points, but we reclaimed and came back up to these areas here. Okay, so this 433 level is going to be that level that we need to pay attention to. All right, the chart is a little messy here simply because there's so much range that you guys are seeing a lot of the levels that I have drawn. So this 433 level is going to be vital. If we can hold above this, which we're currently doing in the pre-market, this area, which lines up with this resistance area yesterday in the after hours, is going to be the next area to fight. Now, if we fight that, we could see the push to the 437, right, which happens to be the low of yesterday's day before we got that crack. And then ultimately, we could see us pushing up to this congestion area that we had yesterday at the 441.18, 440 level. All right, that's going to be a vital area. We're going to have to see if we can get above this. If we can, then the 442 will be possible. However, for now, this is the top side that I'm looking at for today. Okay, now what happens if we lose this 433? If we lose this 433, obviously the next clear support area that we have that we can see some buying pressure step up is that 430.95. Okay, lose the 430.95, we're coming back down to these lows, which is yesterday's lows, which is a level that was respected previously, again, very briefly in the after hours here, and again, respected in the after hours yesterday, right? We bounced off of it, sold off, popped back up, 428, and then 426. All right, so keep it level, keep an eye on your charts. You guys can screenshot this, have these levels on your charts. 433 is going to be the main pivot area that we need to keep an eye on. All right, now let's jump over to the Qs. Take a look at the Qs. Let's go to the daily chart. Woo! Clean that up. Perfect. So the Qs are actually, you know, a lot weaker than the overall market, right? We sense that coming down to these moving averages. If you guys have been paying attention, the tech sector has been relatively weak in regards in relation to the SPY. So we had this sell-off happen. We actually broke the 200 moving average on the Qs one day earlier than we did on the SPY. Okay, now when we broke the Qs, the 200 moving average on the Qs, the SPY broke the 200 moving average the following day, which created even more selling pressure, and we got a really massive pull in the tech sector. Simply because we were already showing weakness. Okay, now you can see with the SPY we popped up and retested the 200, but here with the Qs we're still showing more weakness. All right, so something to consider here. Obviously a lot more weaker than the overall market, but let's pop back into the 15-minute and take a look at some of the levels that we need to pay attention to going into today. All right, so just like the SPY, just like we were watching that 433 level on the SPY, we have to keep an eye on this 344. They're very similar. The charts from yesterday and today are very similar. So this 344 area is going to be that vital area that we need to pay attention to. Okay, we've held above it so far, and the next area that we can look to test is this 348. Again, a level that was respected yesterday in the after hours. If we can get above this level, we're looking to come back up into this congestion area that we had yesterday, and ultimately the 353. Okay, so that 344 is going to be the level to watch and hold if we want to see an upside move today. Doesn't mean that if we get the upside move, we're going to push all the way back to highs, but these are the levels that we need to monitor. This area yesterday is going to be a big congestion area that we need to pay attention to. If we lose this 344, we're looking to pull back down to this 342 level, which again was a level that was respected yesterday. Again, that was a level respected on, what is this, January 25th. Lose that level, then ultimately the 341, 339, and 338 is the last level to kind of pay attention to, and hopefully we get some buyers to kind of step up here. Okay, so this is in regards to the Qs and the SPY. Obviously, again, you guys can screenshot this, take a picture of it so you guys have it for your reference. But we need to kind of pay attention to these levels. Don't go into the market with a bias, guys. Just simply look at your charts and trade your patterns and trade your levels. If you go into the market saying, oh, you know, Powell was talking shit, he didn't change the rates, so you know we're gonna push up today. Don't put that bias in your head, because it's gonna affect your trade. Just simply say, okay, these are the levels I'm looking at. If the levels pan out, great. If we go sideways, that's maybe something that you need to pay attention to and focus on maybe not trading until a direction is really made. Or you're just simply waiting and trading patterns. You know, patterns are 75 to 80%, you know, profitable. They're not going to lie to you unless, you know, those patterns have track record of being correct. So wait, focus on a direction. Once that direction's there, then make a trade based on your pattern. Come into the market with a bias thinking, you know, oh, did I lose you guys? Not sure if Discord crashed. Not sure if YouTube crashed. Alright, give me 1 second. I gotta see if we're still live here. Are we still good, guys? Can you guys still hear me? Okay, we're still here. Perfect. All right. So, with that said, guys, I don't know what happened to my YouTube. It just crashed on me for a second. But with that said, let's jump into the free alerts. First one on the list, I have mRNA. So mRNA, we can see we have this nice pre-market resistance here at 160.50 level. All right. So this 160.50 level is going to be the level that we can pay attention to. So mark these levels down, guys. Again, how do you take these levels? I've talked about it multiple times. If you guys can wait for the first 5-10 minutes, if you're going to trade the first 5-10 minutes, great. Once the trigger comes, you take the trade and you take that momentum move to the upside. All right. So if this 160.50 level breaks on mRNA, we could see a very nice fluid push to that 165 level. If we lose the 157, we could very easily come back down to the 152. All right. So again, how do you trade these? 5-10 minutes of the open. Once this pattern pans out, once the market opens in the first 5-10 minutes and we're triggering up here, I oftentimes take this trigger right here and we push it up. Why? Because the morning volatility will push the stock up to the next resistance point oftentimes, and I want to take advantage of that. All right. Now, if the time goes on and let's say we're an hour into the market, you want to get that breakout and the retest before you take the trade. If the market is at a slower time and we don't have that volatility, I don't take the breakout right here. I wait for the retest. All right. So that's in regards to mRNA. I'm going to jump through these very quickly because I want to get to your questions. I know a lot of you guys are here for that. So ZM over the 142. We're looking at calls here. Sorry, over the 142.70. Looking at calls here. Simply that's above this pivot. If you get above this pivot, again, same story. We can see the push back up to this 145.50 level, and under the 138 we can see a nice sell-off at least down to the 133. Okay, so that's the level to kind of pay attention to on ZM. Next one, W day. The daily broke down really nicely on W day yesterday. If this reverses and gets back over that 228.50, which is this level of resistance here, we could see it pop back up to the 233. But if we get back under the 225 level, which is a psychological whole number, we could see this thing kind of roll back over and come back down towards the 218s. All right. So that's the free alerts there. Now, if you guys have any questions in regards to the tickers, go ahead and ask me the questions. Again, let me know if you're looking to day trade, if you're looking to swing trade, if you're looking to buy puts, what it is that you're looking to do, so I can help you guys out with that. All right. So I'm just going to jump into the chat here, see if I missed any questions. For those of you that are already here, go ahead. There's 120 of you watching. If you guys can go ahead and smash that like button. I would greatly appreciate it. Let's get those likes up for this channel, for all of you troopers who are showing up here nice and early to get that cheddar. All right, let me see. Tesla calls. Tesla 1000 calls. So Tesla 1000 calls. Because of earnings, Tesla is going to have a lot of IV, and the VIX is already up. So IV is going to be through the roof on this name. But really, you know, Tesla is too choppy for me to kind of take these calls here. We have resistance here. We struggled yesterday at these levels. It really needs to get back above that 960 for me to be interested in it. And then you have resistance at 980, 986. All right. For me, this is not an easy trade to day trade. If we get over the 986, great. Then we can push to the 1014. But lots of congestion on the way up here for me to take a trade on Tesla today. All right. Thoughts on Facebook earnings next week. So let's take a look at Facebook. Let's take a look at the Facebook daily chart. So Facebook daily chart breaking under this 298 at a key area here, right? We have this bearish engulfing candle. If we see weakness in the market, this thing can really fall over and hit that 286. Let's take a look here. So for a day trade, you know, you'd have to get over this 298 level. And if you're looking to buy puts on this, you'd have to get under the 293. If you're asking me what should you do for an earnings play, again, I don't recommend you guys gamble on earnings. And if you are going to gamble on earnings, you choose a dollar amount that you're willing to watch it go to zero. Earnings are 50-50. You don't put, you know, $50,000, $20,000, $10,000 on an earnings play unless you have 1,000% conviction. And I don't think any of us have 1,000% conviction on an earnings play. So with that said, earnings are gambles. We treat them like lottos. If you're going to trade earnings, make sure, you know, you're either buying it the day before. So you go into earnings with very small dollar amount, 100, 200, 300, whatever you can afford to lose. Hit the like button. Yes, hit the like button. Jason Flynn. All right. Mr. Alvarez, Apple calls for earnings. You guys love playing earnings, it seems. Same thing, like I said, if you're going to trade earnings, you have to use a dollar amount that you're willing to watch it go to zero. Earnings to me is a 50-50 trade. There's really no strategy in trading earnings, essentially. And what you want to do is have a strategy that you can repeat, that you can, you know, duplicate, so you can continue to make money using that strategy. But trading earnings is not something that will do that for you. XILI, I don't even know what that is. XILI and X? XL and X? XL and X. XL and X day trade. Don't really see much here on the daily for it to be worth a day trade here. Let me take a look to zoom out here. I really don't like this chart. There's really nothing there for me. There's lots of other tickers that you can trade. If you want to take calls on this, if it can get back above the 189.50 level, you could possibly try it for a push up to this 195, which is the resistance level here. But you would have to get over the 189.50 to try to get that push to the 195. I think there's better stocks out there that you could play. So maybe look for something else. The daily chart is not the greatest on this one. Thoughts on ZEV? ZEV, sub $10 stock. Be really careful with this. There's really not much here. It is extended to the downside a little bit, so it might pop up back to the moving averages, but the risk to reward for me is not really worth it here. I don't really like playing sub $10 stocks. Very manipulated and not very easy to trade. What do you think of GME for puts? Don't really like messing too much around with GME or AMC. Day trade, VZ, entry point for a put. Let's take a look at VZ. So VZ, massive sell-off yesterday, breaking key levels on the daily, losing that 51.89. Has room to come down to the 49 level. All right, so for puts, I would really want to see this VZ get back under 50.80, 50.75. If it does, if it does it in the first 5 minutes, great. We could see that nice pull down to the psychological 50 number. But ideally, you need this to get back under the 50-80 level for it to continue going lower. You can pay attention to that for puts on that one. ATVI put day and swing to fill downward gap. So a lot of people keep talking about this ATVI and this gap fill to the downside. You know, I'm not sure if this was a rumor buyout or what's really going on, but buyouts tend to just go sideways. There is a gap to fill on this, but I think there was a price that was discussed on this deal between Activision and Microsoft. Again, I don't like trading buyouts simply because if the price is there, there's really no reason for this to kind of sell off. But I guess this might have been a rumor. You know, on a technical standpoint, this does have room to fill the gap, right? But you have to do your research and understand, was there a price given for this buyout deal? Was it a cash deal? What's going on? This is a news gap up and it's slowly dying here. But if it was a rumor, great. You can kind of take advantage of the put side, but you have to wait for some sort of a pop back up to the 80-50 to get involved in those puts. So maybe wait, see if this gets back up to the 80-50, 80-60 area, then you can try to buy the puts. Right now, you're a little too extended. It went from 83 all the way down to 78 to buy puts on this name. F upside move over 2038. Let's take a look at F. 2038. So looks like it's coming up to that level here. So as you can see on my chart, I have a lot of resistance at the 2050 level, right? We have an area here that was support, broke down, and now we're acting as resistance. We acted as resistance. If we get into that 2038 level that you're referring to, you're going to hit the 2050 and you're going to see rejection, all right? So maybe over the 2050, but then we have, you know, yesterday's resistance level at 2066. Ideally, over the 2066, you could see a push back up to this 21 level. That's really the only move that I would take on this. So not really a clear move or a clear overhead area that we can get involved in, but over the 2060, which clears yesterday's pivot highs, can give us a push back to that 21 level on F. LCID puts under 33. Yeah, I think that 33 is a good level that I have. If it gets under the 33 level, it should fall down to the 29.80. But again, watch for that break with increased selling volume to get on that. On your alerts, your calls are all below your trade target. I thought calls were placed above the target line. No, they're below because we're waiting for the price action to get above that. So if the stock is here, we want to take calls over the 35. So if we get over the 35, we're over that resistance level, so we can push up towards the next area. Spotify swing trade, not right now. The market's not ready for a swing trade. Thanks, risky, so I'll probably just stay away. AMC, don't know what you want to do with it. How do you choose the right options premium? Alan, so if you go on my Twitter, I have a crash course on options that I discuss. How do I choose the options premium? Usually I look for a delta of 0.45 to 0.55, but on my Twitter, that whole thing is explained, and you can take a look at that to kind of give you more detail. The GME had an uptrend yesterday. It can go back to its resistance. GME. This chart's 8. There's really nothing you guys can do with this ticker. Just got to let it pan out. I suggest you stay away from GME. W Day broke down nicely yesterday. W Day, again, watching this under the 225 level. If it gets under that, we'll get into the puts for this one, and over that 229 level, we should see a push on it. Yes, Nancy. Thank you guys. Go ahead and smash that like button. You're the best. Dinesh, how is long-term future for PLTR Neo? Better to buy dip or stay with what we have? To be honest, PLTR has been intriguing me to start a position, but you know, I have levels that I need to get towards before I can start a position on it. I would really love to start down here at this, you know, 10-11 area. For a starter on PLTR. On Neo, you know, you guys know I've been on this name for some time now, and I'm getting absolutely smashed. But that's fine because we're coming back to areas that, you know, it started really proving itself. So at these 21 area that I'll probably maybe add a little bit more. I haven't added simply because I was unsure of what the market was doing. We were under the moving averages, and I'm glad I didn't add to this position yet. But we'll see how it reacts at the 21 level. If it starts consolidating, maybe I'll add a little bit there. But you have to hold ammunition for your long terms. You can't go full deep into the position. Then you're kind of stuck, right? You have to give yourself room to add. Thoughts on AMD? Let's take a look at AMD. So AMD, a little bit of a sell-off here, hitting that 200 moving average. A lot of these good tech names are coming into that 200 moving average. On the intraday level, there's really not much that I want to get involved in. You can see there's lots of congestion, lots of ups and downs happening here on AMD. So I don't want to get involved with this one today for a day trade. There's better names that I can get involved with not too much resistance overhead or support underneath that I'd rather trade. Trader for life, 95 call, cash deal for ADVI, but may not be approved. Yeah, so there you go. That's the thing, right? It may not be approved. It's still not approved. That's why we're getting that sell-off, I guess. People are kind of just, it hasn't gone through. Swing block. I've never even heard of this ticker. I don't even know what that is. You pretty much live with members all day. Oh, live. Yeah, I get up. We go on the live at like 9:15 a.m. I talk about all the alerts and everything that we're going on for the day, and then we trade the markets right up until that slow time takes place, which is at around 11 o'clock, and then I just mute the mic. But I'm in the chat room all day as well. I have a put on ATVI 2 expiry 4th. Been very shaky though. Yeah, it's going down very slowly. So I would definitely take your profits if you're getting close to expiry as well. KSS downside from yesterday alert. No good for today if it comes down more. KSS. Yeah, I think KSS under the 60-50 should be okay here. Let's take a look at the daily. Yeah, it's under that 60-50, so it's in a little pocket and gap fill here actually. So if we can get this back under that 60-50 level, we should come back down at least to the 57.90 on this one. Walmart put side. Walmart sold off nicely yesterday for puts. It's right at support. I don't want to buy puts here, so I'd hold off until you see some sort of a pattern. But I made a good job selling off yesterday. I have support at 134, so I don't want to buy puts into support on Walmart. SQ puts day trade. Yes, SQ put is good, but we really need to get SQ under that 106.80, 106.70 level, and then we can see that flush down to the 102. So would pay attention to that on the downside. If it gets under the 106.60, 106.70 level, then we can take that flush straight down to the 102. As you can see, not much support until that 102 level on SQ. All right. So guys, it is 9 a.m. I got to jump back into the room. If you guys did appreciate this, go ahead and smash that like button. And remember, every Thursday I do go live on YouTube discussing the market, discussing the free alerts, and then I take questions that you guys may have, some of the tickers that you guys are looking at. If I did miss your question, don't worry. Shoot me a message on Discord or Twitter. I will go ahead and answer your questions. I answer all my DMs, so if you guys just shoot me a message, I'll get to it as soon as I can. Again, thank you guys all for tuning in. Go ahead and smash that like button, show your boy some love.